Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast, brought to you by the Fantasy Six Pack. I am your mustache-having host, Nick Z, over here in the wonderful city of Boston. Jason, how the hell are you today, buddy?
Good, man. That stash is looking nice. It's getting ready for prime fall.
It's Spencer Strider-esque, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for it. I'm going to see. So usually my wife is very anti-mustache. But now I'm kind of like, I'm just going to do it. I mean, we're married.
She's stuck.
The amount of paperwork that she would have to do to change this mustache. But so I'm excited about it. I'm ready. I think I'm going to do a mustache fall into winter and just see how it goes. I need to get better at like making it even. It's a little bit uneven, but I'll get there. Enough about my mustache, Jason. We have more important things to talk about, like fantasy baseball. But before then, we have to get to my favorite part of the week, the cold open question of the week, which kind of has something to do with baseball, but obviously does not at all. So, as you know, as we've spoken about before, I don't know if we've really spoken about it since Dave, the former co-host of the show.
Yep.
Big fan of The Bachelor. And currently, we have The Golden Bachelorette. Are you aware of this?
So I just saw a commercial for it on like Monday Night Football. Last night? 2 nights ago. I noticed now they're now including grandma and grandpas into the Bachelor Nation.
So, yes, it's like I think it's 55 plus. What a smoke show! if we're being completely honest here, great. Okay. Joan is a great looking woman. But so they did The Golden Bachelor, which was a guy, obviously. And they had a bunch of women. And that's fine. The fact that they were able to get 15, 20 men in their over 50s that have nothing on Facebook that's like politically incorrect or something wild. So, this is what I want. I'm coming full circle, I promise.
Okay.
I want you to tell me what 90s MLB player would you like to see in The Golden Bachelorette? Ready, set, go. So this is, I understand it's a crazy one, but it's because I have two answers in my head. And if you say one of them, I'm going to lose my mind.
So I have two, and they're kind of inspired by your mustache, actually.
Okay.
And right off the bat, you might be able to guess, but the first is going to be Mike Piazza.
Okay.
And Rafael Palmeiro.
Okay. I like that. So I actually have three.
Okay.
One is Larry Walker, just because.
All right.
And the other one is John Kruk, because also.
Oh, nice.
Thing. And finally, Pat Burrell, strictly because of the Pat the Bat story. And I would pay to see Pat Burrell in the fantasy suite. That's all I'm saying.
I'll take it. That was I was thrown off by the Golden Bachelor. I wasn't quite sure. I don't follow much of the Bachelor Nation. That's a little bit too much for me. But on a little bit of a tangent here, Love is Blind is back next week. I don't know if you heard.
Oh, yeah. Have you watched the fucking UK one?
No. So my brother-in-law told me to watch it. I have not taken his advice. I have not watched it. Yes. I gotta kind of space it out. I feel like I don't want to get bombarded with my Love is Blind content. One season every 9 months is good enough for me.
Yeah, there's a casting call in Boston. So I think that after this level be Boston, which would be cool. Maybe I'll apply. And my wife can be upset at me.
Yeah. Mustache.
Yeah.
down another quick rabbit hole on Netflix dating shows. Did we ever talk about? Did you watch The Perfect Match?
Oh yeah.
I don't even know why I doubted or even had to ask that question. I just wanted to verify if you did in fact watch the show. That is, I got suckered into that watching that because of my wife, and that was the most ridiculous show ever.
I loved every second of it. Dude, it's so funny because I'm so like, it's just like sports with me. It's like sports and wrestling. And then like the third thing is just trashy reality television.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I get sucked into these by my wife, and I'm like those memes where like after 2 episodes, I'm like, what's going on with Katie? Yeah. What's Katie gonna pick? So it's like I can't talk. I have no room to talk. I get sucked into those something. I don't start them. Yeah, I won't start them, but the minute I start watching them, I get hooked in. So I mean, I can't really talk too much trash about it. But that's a side note. We're going to talk about baseball. We're coming up to the end of the season here. I thought it would be kind of fun to, look. It's been another full season here. I think we got like 4 games left. Talk about some of the players, some of the performances we've had this year, and where you stand on them when it comes to dynasty assets. But before we do so, let me get into some business here real quick. Right now, I actually just saw a pretty cool tweet, but we'll get to that in a minute. If you want to get access to the most accurate rankings according to Fantasy Pros, we got DFS and betting projections. 2 new things. I actually saw DFS Daddy Dave, who's been like on fire with his DFS for I think both college and NFL football. Mike had a really good say. He hits on like 74% of his lineups or something like that. I don't know. Some crazy like that. You can get that big by becoming an all-access member today. fansixpack.net/plans. Not just shout out to the DFS team, but also shout out to Joe Bond yet again through 3 weeks of the year is the 3rd best ranking according to Fantasy Pros for fantasy football. So he's like the last I don't know 2 to 4 years has been on fire with his football rankings. So you're going to get access to those. Got to become an all-access member today. Again, you can do so by fansixpack.net. You can get access to our Discord. Right now, I know football season, sit and start questions are popping off in the Discord. So jump on over there, become an all-access member today. All right, we'll get that out of the way. Now let's get into some baseball while we're really here. Last week, we did kind of touch on this, 2 weeks ago, but I want to kind of follow up and come full circle on it. Ohtani. Last week, we were talking about would he get 50-50? He did get 50-50. And not only did he get 50-50, he's not going to, but he's flirting with 60-60. He's already at 55 stolen bases. The game when he broke the 50-50 record was just insane. We were talking about it in the Discord, speaking of all access members. The stat line from that night was like 6 for 6, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 3 stolen bases. And that was like the stat line of a 4th outfielder that you get in a week. And I'm like, the fact that he did it in 1 game is just insane to me. We knew he was going to get 50-50. He unfortunately won't get 60-60. I mean, I shouldn't say he won't. I think they still have 4 games left. So could still get 60-60. I'm not going to put it out there that he won't, but looking like he won't get it. The reason I bring this up is I saw some Twitter rumblings, and of course, on the baseball Twitter side of things, there's always going to be who did it better. And I want to get your point of view on this. Who had a better season? The 50-50 season this year for Ohtani or Acuna's 40-70 season last year? What do you think is better season?
I think Ohtani, just because I don't know that the way he did it was so crazy. I don't know if I would have felt like 2 weeks ago. I was like Lindor's the MVP. Now I'm like, right. Ohtani's the greatest player of all time, mainly just because of the showmanship of that night. Because the whole night it was just like you're scrolling Twitter, you're like, oh, Ohtani had a home run. Oh, he had another one. Then you're like, oh, here's a replay of the other home run, and you're like, oh, nope. It was just ridiculous, man. It's better than fucking Bonds' bullshit 78 or whatever it was. Like. This is like really, truly fucking bananas what he just did. And like I saw a bunch of tweets, like old tweets being like, Ohtani's a high school bat. Like when it was first coming out. Like, oh my God. And like all this, when he's not even pitching, like this is truly just remarkable. And we're very lucky to be able to like see it happen. It kind of sucks that we've always been on the West Coast just because like we haven't really been able to like catch him as much as we could. But yeah, I'm saying easily, Ohtani. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. I'm on I'm always been an Ohtani apologist, and the fact that people want to say the 40-70 is better than 50-50 is just mind-boggling, especially because Ohtani may even get to 60 stolen bases, so he might even have 50-60 season, which would be way better. And everyone's defending Acuna, saying, "Well, he plays the outfield." It's like, well, okay, but Ohtani also throws 95 plus and pitches as well, and he might even do it this offseason. So I don't want to hear, he had 40-70 is better when he's playing the outfield. Also, Acuna can't stay healthy either. So it's not like, Ohtani missing time because of the Tommy John. Acuna misses time because he's always hurt with knee problems too. So
yeah, exactly.
I think Ohtani's 50-50 season is not only better than Acuna's 40-70, it's also going to be one of the best seasons that I'll probably ever see in my lifetime.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. I don't think you can really count out too much. I do want to bring up one quick topic, just talking about like some more topics among the top dynasty assets. Julio Rodriguez hit a home run today, went 2020 now for this year. So him and Bobby Witt are the only players to start a career with 3 straight 2020 seasons. Who would you rather have, Bobby Witt or Julio Rodriguez?
I'd probably go Bobby Witt just because shortstop is always fun to have. Like just like to throw in there outfield. Like yes, it's also less likely at shortstop. Like to get the 20. Like I think that's just a better spot. And there's something about J-Rod, man. He seems to struggle like in like more spurts than he succeeds. When he's good, obviously. But like I don't know what he like when he was first coming up, we thought ceiling was like top 5 player in baseball. And really it's probably like top 10, top 15. Like realistically, we're gonna talk about someone later, but like Jarren Duran is just as good as Julio Rodriguez is. It's just a matter of like opportunity and stuff like that. So I'm definitely interested to see how people evaluate him next year. And I think next year is going to be like not a make or break, obviously, because hell of a player, but it's going to be a year where you're like, show me you're a top 10 guy. Because right now, I think he's on that like 15 to 25 range.
Yeah, no, you nailed it on the head. I think J-Rod struggles with consistency. Like it took him to the 158th game to get his 20th home run. So I definitely think I'd prefer to have Bobby Witt over Julio Rodriguez. However, both of them are neck and neck. And then also, like the shortstop eligibility and the infield eligibility for Bobby Witt is a little bit more appealing than Julio Rodriguez's outfield. Real quick, circling back to Ohtani before we get into the next thing, I'll try to ask you. Next year, TGFBI, you have the 1-1. Are you taking Ohtani? As he's only utility eligible.
Yeah, at this point you have to.
Yeah, I started a discussion in the Discord too. I mean, even with utility only, he has to be the 1-1 next year. He's like, yeah, you kind of hinder yourself by, only getting him at you make yourself at a disadvantage because you can only play him at utility and you can't play him anywhere else as far as flexibility in your roster. But if you're getting 55, 60 out of I don't care what position it is, you have to take that. And not only was it 50-50 this year, it's consistently those same like high batting average, high home runs, high stolen bases for like 3-4 years now. So it's not like this is a fluke season.
Yeah,
obviously the ceiling is a fluke, but a bit of an outlier. I shouldn't say fluke, a bit of an outlier. But yeah, he's been consistent over the last few years. So I think you have no choice but to take Ohtani, be the 1-1 next year. That was all I got to say. I just want to follow back on that Ohtani. Plus, I'm just mesmerized by Ohtani. I love everything about him. Do you think, real quick, you could keep going on about him, did he or did he not bet on those games early in the year?
Man, I'm fully in the camp that he did, but like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm also in
anyway.
Yeah, I'm in the camp too. If you're betting and it's not on the games that you're a part of, what does it matter? I mean, we're in a time in this world, or this country, where sports gambling, I mean, is literally everywhere. The pre-games, the analysis are giving their picks to click and what they're going to bet on FanDuel. The post-game, they're recapping those bets. There's commercials all over, riddled amongst all the major sports on DraftKings, FanDuel, Underdog. So the fact that you're going to belittle these guys for gambling, even if you did gamble, is kind of just asinine to me. Now, I get it. If you want to, say that he gambled on games that he was a part of, then I get it, right? You can't, you got to draw a line somewhere. But if he's gambling on NHL hockey, I mean, who cares, right? But I mean,
the other point is he was doing it illegally. As in, like, it wasn't through.
True. I mean, maybe back in Japan, but
like, bookies are bookies.
Right.
If it was on FanDuel or DraftKings, it's more of like an argument. Like, oh, you bet fucking football, whatever.
Right.
I don't know. I'm of the belief that, one, he shouldn't be able to bet on baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anything. Football players shouldn't bet on football. I think that's the rule for football, and I know it's the rule for the NBA. But like, yeah, because like you can figure shit out. Like you would know things before other people. But he should be able to do whatever the hell he wants with his money on other sports.
Agreed. All right, let's get out of the tiny rabbit hole here and talk about somebody
hold on. I have two more things. I know this is both off top. Are we talking any CJ Abrams today? Because that story's hilarious.
We can. I didn't have it on here. I was going to bring it up, but I feel like let's just get into it now. It's kind of funny because it happened in Chicago too, and those pictures surfacing on Twitter are absolutely hilarious. I don't know if you heard. If you haven't heard, CJ Abrams was demoted to AAA more, I think, out of disciplinary than anything. He was up, and I want to know what casino. I didn't see if it was Rivers or if it was Bally's, but he was at a local Chicago casino till I think like 2 a.m. playing roulette.
It was 8 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 8 in the morning. Sorry. Yes, you're right. 8 in the morning. Playing roulette when he's supposed to be leading off at like 1:20 the next day.
That was the pictures were hilarious. It's also fucking bold. Like,
the
season's fucking over.
Right. And that's why I was gonna bring him up, but I feel like talking about being him demoted is not. It's kind of just. It's not even really relevant because it's more disciplinary.
But like, unless he showed up to the ballpark like drunk or like on
right.
Sure, discipline, or just go fucking home. Like, just send him home.
Yeah.
Like, no, I mean, the Nationals are like they're coming up. Like the next few years, they'll be good.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that to your best fucking player. Like,
right.
There's going to be a time in 2-3 years when he's up for a contract. You're going to want to pay him because he's very good at baseball.
Yep.
But yeah, man, he's kind of another like J-Rod guy that like we need him to wake up like in the next couple of years just to like see how good he is.
Yeah, and produce consistently. I mean, the stolen bases are there, but the power numbers I'd like to see more consistently throughout the season. But that was I thought about adding him and seeing where you fell on his dynasty value right now. Let's get into somebody that is very exciting to talk about, especially when it comes to dynasty, and that's your boy Jarren Duran, who's just had an amazing season so far. Let's see. He's one of only 5 players to have at least 20 home runs, 30 stolen bases, and 75 RBIs this season. The other 4 is Bobby Witt Jr., Ohtani, we just talked about, Jose Ramirez, and Zach Neto. So he's got 47 doubles, which is the most in the league, 14 triples, which is tied with Corbin Carroll for the most in the league, which is actually kind of funny because when we talked about Duran, I think back around the All-Star break, he had like 10 triples. So he's kind of slowed down on the triple end, but what do you think about Duran so far this year?
Man, he's been like one of the only reasons to watch the Sox this season. I mean, like, granted, it's always fun to watch a Red Sox game for me, but like,
right,
it's so fun. He's someone you really want. Up until recently, you really wanted to root for him until he was being a shithead. But I think he just needs to mature a little bit more, which is he's got another year. How old is he? He's 28. Okay. I think you're pretty much a finished product at 28. So I think he's just a shithead. But Yeah, it's been really fun to root for him this year just because of like it got very bad last year. It was like can you look at can you like easily go to the 2023? Yes, I think if you press that link.
Yeah. The one thing I did want to show is like just the spray chart here is actually insane.
Everywhere.
I mean, it talk about foul pole to foul pole home run power. It's crazy. I mean, it's everywhere. All his hits are just all over the diamond, which is always awesome and fun to see. So, would you want to see the standard stats for 2023?
Yeah. Or just the chart in 2023. I think if you use it's given us a whole little movie. So just pause it in 2023. Yeah.
There you go.
Like that's crazy. And like he has to have been drug tested by now, right?
Right.
Like so like this just might because he had that top prospect like pedigree.
Yep.
And like, it was like, is it Jarren Duran? Is it Jarred Kelenic? Like it was kind of like one of those. And Jarren was so bad, but then this year, man, he's been unbelievable. And I really hope it's what he is because if you got him in Dynasty this offseason, his past offseason, my man, you got him for nothing. And we're talking maybe a top 20 asset right now. That's a crazy jump. And I'm just excited to be here to like see it happen.
Yeah, not just Red Sox fans, but all Dynasty players have been waiting for this breakout to come. So to see it finally come has been awesome. And I agree. I was trying to value him and where I put him. And he's definitely, top 25 asset, and definitely a top 10 outfielder, I would think, just because he's a 5-tool player and the versatility that he brings is just awesome. And I think that, even if you look at his stats here or the Savant page here, like a lot of the stuff is kind of all falling in line as far as the chase and the whiff and the strikeout rate. The biggest improvements have been the quality of contact, which is always super huge to see. The speed's always been there, so the stolen bases are nice to see. Now he's got, back-to-back 20-plus stolen bases. This year's got 30-plus stolen bases. The power's been really great this year. And, yeah, I was trying to figure out where to value him as far as just overall dynasty asset, and I think top 25 is a good spot. Top 10 outfielder for sure. I'm curious to see how he goes into next year and where he can kind of build upon some of these numbers that he's already putting up. Obviously,
especially like they're going to be better. Like
right.
the team around him is going to be better. So like you're going to have like Roman Anthony out there. Like it's going to be like a better lineup around him. You're going to see more RBI. You're going to see more runs coming in. So I think next year could be like the peak of Jarren Duran. Just he's getting close to 30.
Yeah, I mean, this is all pretty much out of the leadoff spot too, and he's got already over 100 runs scored, 20 home runs. So I could easily see, like, if the team gets a little bit better, 125, 130 plus runs scored out of the leadoff spot for Jarren Duran next year. So all good things to come for Jarren Duran. A guy that's kind of been perplexing this year, and a lot of people had high expectations. He's not really a riser this year, but we're talking about risers and fallers, and that's Jackson Holliday. We kind of talked about him basically back when he made his debut, and he's come up and kind of come back down, went down and came back up again. His numbers on the line, his line this year so far is slashing 169, 227, slugging 290, only has a 47 WRC plus, 5 home runs, 26 runs scored, 23 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases. We talked about it before. I know you said that you were most likely a seller, but as the year comes to a close here, are you looking to buy or sell Jackson Holliday this offseason?
I guess I'd buy just because it's kind of fun to have him, but it's just so hard to try and figure out the ceiling there. Like at first I was like, all right, if everything clicks, it's Corey Seager, like with a little bit less power. But now I'm just so unsure. I don't know what it is. I don't like who would you say right now is best case scenario for him, like comp wise?
Oh man, that's so hard because I agree. I think it's hard to judge him on the power just because he's still so young. I think he has a lot of raw power in him, but it just hasn't really transitioned there because he's still kind of small. But we did see 5 home runs. I think honestly they probably called him up too early. I think
Yeah.
they kind of screwed the pooch on that, especially with so many great other players in that organization. They probably could have waited on him at least till next year. But I think the price tag's so low right now. I'd have to be a buyer this offseason. Hope to get him on the cheap. Some guy that's like over him has maybe like using him as like a middle infielder, and he's just like, I'll do somebody else at this point. I struggle for a comp just because I don't really know what his ceiling could be anymore. Because I definitely
It's just so hard to think of because it's
Yeah.
like last year we were like he's Jesus.
Yeah.
It's just so. I know we've probably spoken about this. I traded him in my main league, and I'm gonna go back and just say the names I got. So it was Holiday and Jake Berger, who's turned out to have a pretty good year. So whatever. But I got back Jazz Chisholm, Jordan Hicks, Joey Ortiz, Rhett Lauder, who's been so good at the end of this season.
Yeah.
And Geraldo Perdomo.
Yep.
I don't think I'd be able to get. I don't know if someone would trade Jazz Chisholm straight up for him right now, especially with the move to New York.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that you definitely made out on the right end of that trade. Chisholm already is going to produce more than he does as far as the next few years go, I think. And then you also get Rhett Lauder. So yeah, I think you definitely got out on that trade. But yeah, I only for the fact that the upside I believe is still there, I would be trying to buy him. But if someone came along and gave me a good offer, I wouldn't be opposed to selling him either, just because I don't know where he stands, not only in that organization, but I could also see them flipping him at some point if he doesn't, get on the track. They have so many good players, such a surplus.
Yeah.
If they could flip him, if the Orioles could flip him for something, I could see them happening in an off season, this one or the next, if he doesn't, live up to those expectations. So someone came to me with a solid deal, I would probably be all in on Jackson Holiday as a sell too. So I'd be both. I'm in that fence of like buying and selling if the price is right. I wouldn't be looking to overpay as far as a buyer, but if you can get a trade like you got, which I don't think you could anymore, I would absolutely grab, smash, accept, and run on that.
That was with friend of the show, Bob Osgood.
Oh, nice. Shout out, Bob.
Shout out, Bob.
Well, I just want to bring him up because he was one of those, I want to bring up some of these names that were just like getting some huge helium in this before the season and where they stand in your dynasty radars. Someone that was always getting a bunch of helium and is well deserved is our next guy here. We're talking about Paul Skenes. And mustache. I don't know if good call, mustache. Paul Skenes through his first, he's basically done for the year. They shut him down. Not really shut him down, but they shortened all his innings earlier this month. But he went 11-3, 167 strikeouts, and only 130 innings pitched. Got a 1.99 ERA, 0.96 WHIP. Basically been everything that has been advertised. Do you have? I know we talked about who's the SP1. We were really hyping up Skubal earlier this year, but do you think Skenes has overtaken Skubal as a dynasty SP1?
It stinks because also the Tigers have been hot, but being on the Tigers, it's kind of just like an organization now, and I think I would pick the Tigers over the Pirates, but I think Skenes. Gun to my head, draft tomorrow. I'm picking Skenes, just because he's younger. I think he's younger. I actually don't even know if he's younger. Okay, yeah. I believe so. Yeah. I'm probably going Skenes just because of he's only 22. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you can see. Yeah, I'm going Skenes. How about you?
Yeah, I was going back and forth on this, pre-show. I really like what Skubal done this year. I was definitely a little hesitant coming into this season if he could actually grab a hold of that SP1 ranking for dynasty assets, and he did that. He definitely lived up to that. However, Skenes has not only lived up to his hype, I think he's blown it out of the water. I knew he was going to be good. I did not think he was going to be this good. This has all the makings of not only your next dynasty SP1, but that true ace, Garrett Cole type pitcher that you can have as your SP1 in Dynasty for the next 5 to 10 years, barring injury, which is, everything always with any pitcher, barring injury, or we'll put that aside. You can't just say he's going to get hurt. You don't know that. Barring injury, this guy is going to be the SP1 in Dynasty for the next 5 to 10 years, guaranteed. He is that kind of projection for me. He came out and produced at there was never one outing this year in his first season as a major leaguer where he looked overmatched, looked like he was out of the element. He looked every bit of what we expected and everything there. And again, yes, only 22. I can't say enough good things about Paul Skenes, and I definitely have him as my SP1 for Dynasty, and I think he's probably in a startup at least round 1. So I'd say top 10 to top 15, depending on your league size, Dynasty asset right now. Definitely. If not top 5. Some people like to build around pitchers, and I don't blame them for that. So if you want to go pitcher heavy or, grab like a hero, they always call hero RB in fantasy football. If you want to go hero SP, grab Skenes in the top 10 of a Dynasty startup, I would not fault you one bit for that. He has the makings of being all that and advertised. Here's a little bit of a heat check I wanted to bring up here for some guys. The first guy I want to hear, which is a little bit of a shocking of a name here, but I want to get your take on some of these guys that may be a little more outliers for when it comes to Dynasty. And that's Victor Robles, now of the Seattle Mariners.
Oh.
Before you say no, let me tell you what's done since he got to Seattle. Since joining Seattle, so this is a fully new change of scenery for Victor Robles. Although he did make a couple stops, I think, before he went to Seattle. But anyways, since joining Seattle, he's slashing 329, 395, 463, 858 OPS, 37 runs scored, 4 home runs, 23 RBIs, and is on the verge of getting 30 stolen bases since basically the All-Star break.
Nope.
Still out on him?
Yeah. Done. All right. Forever. How old is he now? Like 22?
No, I think he might be a little bit older than that, but I was curious about this because he's one of those guys that I got basically free, and I've had him on my Dynasty team.
Yep, yeah.
For the last couple of years now, and he's finally starting to produce again, and I'm like, is this a guy that I try to dangle for trade, or do I continue to hold?
Is it actually good? Yeah.
Yeah, because he was always highly touted prospect coming up, had a pretty good first year or two with Washington, and then is just completely faded out of there. He's 27, so he's basically at his peak technically right now. His age apex is at 27.
Let's give me another year or a half year.
Well, the thing that I worry about is
I would buy him, I suppose. What's the difference between him and Jarren Duran? Really? Realistically, they're around the same age, probably about the same. Maybe I just talked myself into Victor Robles.
I mean, if you were to project the what he's done from joining Seattle, it's not far off from Jarren Duran. He's basically right now he's at 33 stolen bases on the year. Obviously, 29 of those come with Seattle. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overhype this guy, but again, this is a guy that we were back in when he first started. It was he was all that what we expected, and then just completely fell off the face of the earth. I don't know. This was one of the ones I wanted to get your take on it because, again, I said I have him in one of my leagues. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with him. I want to see where you thought he stood as a Dynasty asset, and I think I might just be talking myself into him.
I would trade him, but I couldn't even tell you what to get just because it's such a depreciated asset.
I know.
Also increased in value in some weird way. So it's definitely a weird gray area. But I think I'd rather trade him and get something, even if it's a pick or something.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to put your faith into half a season of Victor Robles where we've been burned on that before, right? We saw him get have a decent season, and then all of a sudden he went to basically garbage. But I thought that was just fun to bring up a name.
Yeah, that was a good name, just because he was almost on waivers in Dynasty leagues over 20 teams.
Right. I mean, I've had him forever. I picked him up at a lull basically and got him for free in my dynasty. He was on the waiver wire in like a semi-shallow league, so I was like, let me at least see, just grab him at the beginning of this offseason. I grabbed him, and I'm like, I actually almost ended up started playing him in some of these weeks here in the last couple weeks in my playoffs, but I couldn't. I don't know. I don't think I could trust it.
Yeah, no.
From one guy that's actually been a hot hitter in this, not just this half season, but for the last couple seasons. That's my boy, Kyle Schwarber.
Schwarbs.
More of another price check on this guy. I want to see what your thoughts are on him. We all know he's been super stellar. He's on the verge of having another 40-plus home run season, which would make it 3 straight. He only needs 2 more this weekend to reach that 40 home run season. He's got 108 runs scored, 102 RBIs. That's back-to-back 100 RBI seasons. Yeah, obviously, the biggest thing with him is he's obviously utility only, I think, and he is a bit of a decrease in value for batting average leagues. But again, 40 home runs and 100 RBIs, back-to-back seasons, basically. I feel like he's catapulted up those dynasty rankings.
Yeah, man, I love Schwarbs. We both. It's truly something to experience him on your team.
Yeah,
and he's a guy that's just like if you root for him in one game, you're a fan for life. So Kyle Schwarber, I will always draft you whenever I can. I will always try and trade for you just because he's going to hit 40 home runs until he doesn't. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, he's going to hit like 5, and that's okay. We spoke about Larry Walker earlier. Same kind of guy, like Jim, like a Jim Thome, like a home. He just knows dingers and he knows how to walk.
Yep.
He's not going to be able to, like, as you said, he's going to have more home runs than singles. It's just a fun guy to have. I love Schwarber. I'm always going to be a fan of Kyle Schwarber. He's been on so many teams, and it's wild to me because he's so good. And like, I think the Red Sox got him from the Nats, and I think they gave up. I'm pretty sure they put him on fucking waivers.
Yeah, probably.
Like, I don't know. I love Schwarber. I'd pick him as many times as I ever could. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy that basically almost single-handedly won us the World Series for Chicago Cubs. Came back on like a broken leg after breaking it in the first series of the season that year. But I'll always have a soft spot for Kyle Schwarber, and just the fact that the Cubs couldn't even give him a qualifying offer when they let him walk that year still pisses me off as a Cubs fan. He should still be on the Chicago Cubs, and it's sad to see him producing this well for other teams.
And his profile fits me. Yeah, that's wild. In 2023, fucking 47 home runs, but 115 hits.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, it's just a shame to see him producing for the Phillies when he should be on the Cubs or somewhere else that actually needs him.
At least he never played for the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly. All right, from Schwarber, we're gonna now get into a couple of these minor leaguers, and it wouldn't be an on-deck circle if we didn't get some homerism here going. First guy I want to talk about is someone that you probably are very well aware of. I'm sure most people are now at this point, and that's Kristian Campbell. Just came out last week. Baseball America named him their minor league player of the year.
Yep.
He ascended over 3 levels this year. Started at high A, got all the way to triple A. For the season across all 3 levels, he's slashed 330, 439, 558 with a 997 OPS. So that ever sexy 345 slash line. 94 runs scored, 20 home runs, 77 RBIs, 24 stolen bases. Still only 22 years old. Got to AAA this year. I mean, this came out of nowhere. Kristian Campbell, for the most of us, were like, diehard, like, Dynasty, prospect heads knew who he was and weren't really that high on him going into this year. To see him put together a year like he did in 2024 is awesome. The power numbers are great. We always knew about the speed and the slap hitting and things like that, but to see him spray the ball to all fields and get that power this year has been super awesome. Super glad that he was able to get some recognition this year. But what do you guys say?
Yeah, man. I need to do a little PSA here. Chaim Bloom we're now figuring out the vision, and it bums me out because all these guys that are coming up now in the next 2 years are Heim Bloom guys. And like Kristian Campbell, he was a college bat. You don't see like those if you're not like a first round college bat, it seems like you're kind of like a quad A guy. But he saw something in Kristian Campbell, and man, he has been unbelievable. I got to look at him when I went to a Portland game when I met Marcelo Mayer, and you know what? He's better than Marcelo Mayer. Like as like a 1,000% better as a fantasy baseball like player.
Mhm.
But like this guy's going to be at second base for the Red Sox on opening day. Like, and it's crazy because we have like this big three of Roman Anthony, Marcelo Mayer, Kyle Teal, and Kristian Campbell is right there.
Mhm.
So I've never really had a team like that. The like prospect heavy, just because we've been so. I guess when like Mookie and like Bogarts came up, it was kind of like that. But this is something that I'm actually pumped about next season for. They just need to get some pitching. But Kristian Campbell, excited, opening day second baseman.
Yeah, he actually has climbed up with the recent graduations and things. He's actually now a top 100 prospect for MLB Pipeline. So that's always cool to see. Again, Baseball America named him their minor league player of the year. Huge improvements, huge strides this year. Can't wait to see what 2025 holds for Kristian Campbell. Again, it wouldn't be on Deck Circle if we're talking Red Sox and homers, and we got to talk Cubs too. So we got to talk about my boy Matt Shaw. Dude has actually been a menace this year. It's actually been a menace since being drafted in June of last year. Had a super productive 2024 season, his first full season with the team. / 284, 379, 488, 21 home runs, 31 stolen bases, 71 RBIs, and 78 runs scored. Was really hoping that they would give him an extended look here at the end of the year here in September. Unfortunately, they kept holding out this hope that they were somehow going to make the playoffs, which obviously they're not at this point. We still have not really seen any call-ups for some reason. I'm not sure why. Although today we did call up Kevin Alcantara, but with 4 games to go, it's like, what's the point? Yeah, I would have liked to see some of these guys up already. But again, they were trying to hold out hope that they were going to make the season or make the playoffs. But that's why they didn't bring up a lot of these guys. But it's super cool to see Matt Shaw guy. I think he was top 10 pick. If not, he was top 12. I think like that last year. College bat.
I think it was 12 because the Red Sox have 15, and he was somebody that I wanted, him or like Tommy Troy or something like that.
Yep. Yeah. So I would assume he'll get every. The problem is also too they don't really have any now that they traded for Paredes. They don't really have anywhere to put Shaw. He's going to have to move to a corner outfield spot, I think, with Horner, Dansby, and now Paredes at third. There's not really much spot in the infield. The infield is basically all taken up with Bush going to first. Yeah. They really have no infield spots there, so he's gonna have to move to corner outfield. And I just don't know what corner outfield they're gonna do because they both have Suzuki and Happ there. But we'll see. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see this guy get a look here in spring training for 2025. But want to give a shout out to Matt Shaw, super riser for my rankings. I think he's gonna be a stud at this level. College bat that would transition well to the majors. Super fun. Before we get out of here, though, one more thing I want to talk about real quickly today. The Arizona Fall League announced their rosters. I don't know if anyone's not familiar with Arizona Fall League, it is basically an extended minor league system league. It's like 6 different teams. It runs from like the middle of October to like the end of November. It gets teams to get extended looks on a lot of their top prospects. It's always fun. They do there's 6 teams. Each team is comprised of 5 different MLB teams, so they all kind of combine their prospects to make these super teams. Really quickly, wanted to drop down some of these names that actually just got announced today. Super exciting. If you have MLB.TV, you can get a lot of these games, and you can also get a lot of them if you have MLB Network. Like super fun once the World Series ends. MLB Network plays some of these games late at night. Super fun to watch. Real quick, some of these names that you'll be familiar with that are appearing this year. Jack Caglione was just obviously drafted. A lot of times that's what happens. The guys get drafted, they didn't get enough at bats, so teams give them this little bit of extended season. Ethan Salas, we're all familiar with him, the 17-year-old catcher. Xavier Isaac from the Rays. Colson Montgomery for the White Sox was actually a little shocking. He should have been basically on this roster. And the fact that they make him go down to Arizona Fall League after the season is kind of crazy to me. Proving once again that I don't know what the hell that front office is doing. Anyways, Colt Emerson for the Mariners. Cole Young for the Mariners. Chase DeLauder of the Guardians. Moises Ballesteros of the Cubs. Bryce Eldridge of the Giants, who I don't know if you've been following him. He's been insane the last month. I thought for sure, obviously they don't have much to play for, so they weren't going to call him up, but be on the lookout for Bryce Eldridge to rise up prospect rankings if he hasn't already going into 2025. That dude's going to be like, he'll soon be a top 25 prospect for sure. Edwin Arroyo from the Reds, Drew Gilbert of the Mets, and Tamar Johnson of the Pirates are all basically rounding out the top 100 prospects that are there. Just a little shout out to Arizona Fall League. If you can, catch them, watch those games. They're super fun. Another little extended, for the Dynasty and the prospect heads and all of us, a little bit more extended look on some of these guys.
It's a good way to find guys too, just because unlike those top 100 guys that everyone really knows ish, it's good to just find some of those just guys getting extra run. There's been people I feel like this is going to be a bad example because they didn't turn out, but that's how I found Taylor Trammell.
Yep.
When he was in Arizona Fall League, and I was like, oh, this guy's random. It wasn't when he was a top 100 prospect. He was just in the top 30 of the Reds or whatever team he was on at that time. So definitely a good way to find some hidden gems.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, there's if I had time, I'd go through all the rosters and tell you some of these guys, but we don't have time for that. Because I do got one more thing before we get out of here. Gone live real quick, and I did place this bet. This is called the Juan Soto Dinger Insurance Parlay, and I went with Juan Soto to record a hit, Juan Soto 2+ bases, Juan Soto to score a run. So if he hits a dinger, it hits, and if he hits a double, it hits. So and then even if he gets a single, it's basically close to the same odds, a little bit less odds than if you were to hit a home run. But if he hits a home run, it hits too. So do that with what you will.
Mine, not baseball.
Nice.
Vikings are underdogs.
I saw that. I was actually kind of shocked.
Yeah. Give me Vikings plus 2.5 against who was it?
Green Bay. They play Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay. Willis. No, trash.
Yep. All right, man. We'll talk soon.